Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is here. So, Senator, you're on that committee. What should we expect tomorrow? It sounds pretty big.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it, Jesse. I understand that this CIA whistleblower is going to testify to, among other things, that the CIA and the government deliberately ignored the law that Congress passed. It was my bill that ordered the Biden administration to declassify everything, all the intelligence around the origins of COVID-19. And I'll tell you why I wrote that, Jesse, because I could see the intelligence reports. I had access to them. I knew that what the Biden administration was saying in public was not true. And they said, oh, well, there's confusion. We don't know. That's not what the intelligence report said. So we wrote the law ordering them to declassify. They didn't do it. I understand that the whistleblower is going to say that was deliberate. It was part of a cover-up, and I can't wait to hear what else he's got to say.
Well, it looks like there's still a cover-up somewhere. Brennan suggesting that he's in touch with deep state actors at the agency and at the DOJ who are actively undermining the commander-in-chief. I mean, I can't believe he just admitted that on live television.
Yeah, these guys are so dirty, and let's just review what they did, what Brennan did, and Comey was part of the same cabal here. They got the Steele dossier, which was fake, which was itself a Russia hoax, Russia financed, Russia provided. They got that laundered into the intelligence community, laundered into intelligence reports, and then they leaked it out to the media, all in an effort to influence a presidential campaign. Not just influence it, but to actually try to change the outcome of an election. They use federal resources to do it. They use the FBI to do it. They use the CIA to do it. And as if that weren't enough, James Comey then went to a secret court and got a wiretap on the Trump campaign using false information and then lied to Congress about it. These are bad people. We are lucky that they are no longer in charge. It is amazing that we were able to get through their period in government without more damage. And Jesse, I just regret that with Comey, he wasn't indicted on more stuff, because this is a guy who ought to be behind bars.
Well, he might be, or he might skate. A lot of these guys end up skating. I don't know how. Republicans not very good at revenge. Democrats much more effective. But it seemed like Blanche was suggesting that they have more than just a few seashell photographs. What do you think that's all about?
Well, I think that at trial they're going to put out everything they've got, and I'm sure he's right. I'm sure the grand jury saw quite a lot of evidence, otherwise it wouldn't have returned the indictment, and I'm sure at trial they're going to make their best case. And as I say, I mean, you know, threatening to assassinate the president, encouraging others to, which is what that post looked like to me. Remember, that post with the seashell thing, ridiculous, that came after 2 assassination attempts on the life of the president. So it wasn't as if Comey just didn't know, oh, gee, I don't know what it means. He knew. But Jesse, even worse than that is, this is a guy who lied to Congress. This is a guy who took classified information out of the FBI, lied about it. This is a guy who leaked to the media sensitive FBI material, lied about it. This is a guy who lied to a court to get wiretaps. He lies, he lies, he lies, he cheats, he steals. This is a bad dude, and he ought to get everything that's coming to him.
Well, they might call him seashells in prison. We don't want that, but that could happen. We just want justice. Thank you so much, Senator. Looking forward to tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.